topic A, B, C, D. Well, there's an alternative. The alternative is framing your agenda as a set of questions to be answered. And this is a very powerful change. When a meeting leader has to try to create a set of questions, they have to think at a much deeper level, right? They have to truly think about, well, what are the outcomes we actually want from this? So they think more, they become more intentional. By organizing your meetings as a set of questions, you have a better sense of who to invite to the meeting because they're relevant to the questions. You know when to end a meeting because the questions have been answered.
Right.
And if you just can't think of any questions, that might be your indication that a meeting is not necessary.
No meeting, right. No, that just makes so much sense to me. It really just makes so much sense to me. And it you don't get off track, right? You're trying to answer a specific question.
Sure.
And it gives a level of focus to the meeting too, to me.
I agree. I mean, even think about your world, right? You do so many interviews. You think about your questions in advance. It doesn't mean that you won't be nimble, but the fact that you've thought about these questions in advance creates an opportunity for more meaningfulness and more respect for your guest's time.
Right. There's a focus to it, right? Yeah. And that's what it does. What is the other thing I was really curious about is the power of silence, because in meetings, I think we're all under the impression we've got to give, we've got to talk, there's a dialogue, and you talk about brainstorming in silence. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Silence could be one of the most powerful meeting tools, and it is an interactive tool. So first, let me share a research finding. So there is research that has compared groups who brainstorm in silence, basically just jotting their ideas down on index cards or into an app, versus groups that brainstorm with their mouths. And what they found is that those groups who brainstorm in silence generate nearly twice as many ideas. But maybe more importantly, the ideas tend to be more innovative and more disruptive. So let's think about why that would be the case. When you're brainstorming in silence, everyone can talk at once, right? You're no longer waiting for that person to speak. Furthermore, one person's contribution is not affecting your view of the challenge, right? So you're able to bring your full self to the ideation process.
Right.
And number three, you're not filtering based on what the boss said.
Right.
Right? So you have these forces that are just the perfect conditions for excellent brainstorming. And then, from silence and brainstorming, that can evolve to the next stage, right? So let's say that you do it on index cards or the app. Basically you have one idea per card, but then, the app can help you sort these things into piles based on conceptual similarity. And then the group can use an app to vote on which pile they think has the most merit. Again, this is all interaction. It's just not with voices. Yeah. And then you could even have the situation, I'm just going to take it even further, that the group looks at various ideas and they can just start typing in reactions and thoughts, and people could respond to other people's thoughts. So you can build a highly interactive environment without a word being spoken. Now, in the example I just shared, it was silence, 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 silence. It doesn't have to be that way. There's not a magic formula. And that's, I think, one of the things that's really powerful about the book is I don't say that to have a good meeting, you have to do this, this, and then that, because the science doesn't support that. What the science supports is a leader making good choices, being intentional.
Yeah.
Not just falling into habits, but make choices. Make choices and honor people's time. So silence is this opportunity that, given what you want to accomplish and who's at the meeting, you can say, you know what? I think silence might be a perfect tool to getting it done. It does not mean you should do it every single meeting, because then it would become just an annoying habit again. But it's a tool that's available to a meeting leader.
No, I mean, it's fascinating. But you're absolutely right, because I've been in these meetings where one or two voices control, and people fall in line intentionally or not intentionally.
Yes.
Right. And I've been guilty of facilitating meetings where I don't think everybody got the same voice,
right,
and we probably missed things that were important because of that. So I totally get that, and I'm actually eager to try to implement that, because I think that's how you explained it is really, really powerful, and just it could be game changing to a lot of people, particularly to make people feel included in things. We all have unconscious bias. We all have faults, right? And we all and some people are not some people do speak up, and they'll speak up loudly when others who probably have good ideas don't talk. And so I like that a lot. What for you are sort of the keys to running a good meeting? I know that there's no one thing, but I know you've got like 7 or 10 ideas of like some of the basics. Like,
I have 2 million ideas in the book.
Right, you got 2 million in the book, and there were 7 random ones, right?
So I'll just share 2 that I think are meaningful. And so if I had a leader come to me and say, "Hey, listen, I want to make my meetings better."
I want to make my meetings better.
Okay.
Tell me.
And I can't say buy the books. I won't throw that away, but I won't throw that out there. So I would say, first of all, embrace a different mindset. Embrace this mindset of being a good steward of others' time. Steward of others' time. Once we have that mindset, we actually start to think about our meetings very differently. When we have that mindset that we want to be a good steward, we start to make good choices. We start to think more carefully about the meeting and what success looks like. We think more carefully about who needs to be there. We fully recognize that while so many people complain about meetings, we don't want them to complain about our meetings, right? We want to be part of the solution. So just embracing this different mindset. And interestingly, we have this mindset all the time when it comes to meeting with customers or a boss's boss, right? We don't want those people to leave the meeting saying, boy, that was a waste, right? That would crush us. So we're motivated to make sure that we maximize the time of that powerful individual.
Right.
But when it comes to meeting with our directs or our peers, we just typically don't have that same mindset. So that's really an overarching general notion of the importance of mindset. And then something more specific, and I'm going to go unconventional, is if you forced me to say, what should a leader actually do? I would say, I want you to evaluate your meetings. I want you to send a quick survey, use Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey, whatever it is, to the people who attend your regularly occurring meetings and ask them, what's going well, what's going not so well, and what can we do differently?
Okay.
Get the data, right? There's nothing more powerful to improving your meetings than understanding how individuals are experiencing your meetings. Take the challenge. Meeting leaders are not engaging in that simple act. And now when you kind of think of these 2 things, what does a steward do? A steward cares about other people's opinions, which is then solved by that second point of asking people's opinions. And when you learn what's on their minds about what's going not so well, then try new things. The beauty of 55 million meetings a day is there's lots of opportunities to try to get better.
What is in any of the research that you did, are there